25 years ago, in February, the CEO of Uber Diagnostics lost his mother to a heart attack. It was swift, it was sudden, and it left him bereft of a parent very suddenly. 6 months ago, we used this diagnostic device and gave it to a small clinic in northern India to a doctor. In the resulting 6 months, he saved 3 lives. These are the pictures of the clinic. They're very basic, very rudimentary infrastructure. And one of the lives that was saved is in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. This gentleman is on the floor, and it's not uncommon to diagnose someone on the floor. But hold on to that image because we'll refer to it later. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in India, as along with many other countries. The Ministry of Health estimates 60 million people to be, a population of 60 million people to be at risk. And the system-wide cost for latter stage intervention is about $1.5 billion. In that context, for the 60 million people, the stark difference between the urban and the rural healthcare is presented over here. Life in the city is good. Half the number of people, 4 times the number of doctors, 6 times the number of diagnostic centers, and the travel time 1/4 to go to a diagnostic center. On the other hand, the rural cousins have basically a thermometer, a stethoscope, and a blood pressure monitor to check their patients. This presents an incredible opportunity for cardiovascular diagnostics in the rural healthcare system in India. The Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry estimates $6.4 billion for healthcare diagnostics. Uber Diagnostics is looking at a market which is primarily healthcare physicians, primary care physicians, and that market is about $2 billion. Now, the number of cardiovascular patients is to double from 60 million to 120 million in 2020. Now, that's a huge gain. But 1 million primary care physicians in the Indian market, 98% of them do not have access to cardiac diagnostics. And the question should be, why not? And that's exactly why not. On the left-hand side, cardiovascular diagnostics are done by a technology called ECG, electrocardiogram. It measures electrical signals in the heart and prints out an ECG trace. A cardiologist looks at an ECG trace and determines the condition of the heart by looking at the ECG trace. This is mature technology. But the current deployments of ECGs in the hospitals are non-portable, they are very expensive, and they are point solutions. And by point solutions, I mean that the ECG, the patient, and the cardiologist have to be co-located. What we have done essentially is we have ported the functionality of the big ECG over here into an iPhone form factor. This is about the size of an iPhone. It has all the functionality, and we went ahead and wirelessly enabled it. What does that mean? It means that now the patient does not have to be co-located with the cardiologist. This one measures the electrical signals of your heart. This is a working unit, by the way. It sends the data and the trace to this tablet. The tablet then uploads the trace to a cloud, and the cardiologist can be anywhere in the world and look at the trace and diagnose the patient. You saw the man on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. He had this symptom, cardiomyopathy. That's an enlargement of the heart. He was diagnosed, and there was an early intervention. And cardiomyopathy, when there's an enlargement of the heart, if it is not diagnosed, it will lead in premature death. So he was diagnosed. He was put on an early intervention of medication, and he lived. I want to talk to you a little bit about this company, where I'm a principal. The founders, Uber Diagnostic, the founders have invested $125,000 in the company. This is how we came up with a working prototype today. Our mission is to put a CardioTrack unit for every primary care physician. These are our funding requirements. A lot of numbers here. I'll just leave you with one number. We are seeking $1 million based on a $5 million pre-money valuation, and this is for 2016. This is going to be a valuation for 2016. Our sales projections are very conservative. We are going to be profitable by 2017, but look at the number of units that we are looking at, 50,000 units. Earlier in a slide, I told you that there were 980,000 primary care physicians that did not have cardiac diagnostics. This is a very conservative number. In addition, we are not even including the other emerging markets where there has been a significant interest after those articles were published, which I have handed over to you. I want to take you back very quickly to that small clinic in northern India where the doctor saved 3 lives. This is the doctor. We don't believe at Uber Diagnostics, we believe that you do not have to wait for a pain in your chest or a stroke for a condition that can be relatively easily diagnosed with your primary care physician or even at home. But what this doctor told us was that 90% of the time, the people who died were the primary wage earners in their family. And when that happens, the entire family gets destroyed. They go into financial ruin and below the poverty line. That's what set us off into trying to find a solution over here. So it's not about just individuals. It is about saving families, and it is also about transforming healthcare. And today, I urge you to join me and to help me to save lives, save families, and transform healthcare while getting an excellent return on your investment. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you. Can you talk a little bit about your revenue model and pricing?
That's a good question. Oh.
I'm over here.
That's a good question. Our revenue model, it's actually over here. We have 2 models. One model is an outright sale of the unit, which is this set of unit. Okay? We give it to a hospital or a hospital chain, they buy it and they use it. The other model, which is where we are being favored, is to sell this as a subscription model. So the subscription model is in the following way. The primary care physician gives us $50 a month, okay, and we give him the unit, and he uses the unit. He has unlimited ECGs that he can do. He can upload them, and we have a reading. So we charge him for storing it and reading it. And we charge him $50 a month for an unlimited number. Now, he doesn't have to be a cardiologist. If he charges $2, which is our recommended price for reading an ECG, he makes $200, which he earlier did not have. He did not have this machine, so he would not have this revenue. He now has $200, and he gives us $50. That's a very, very conservative. He will see at least 10 cardiac patients a day. So in a month, that's a significant revenue. Now, comparatively, in the US, on the high side, ECG costs $1,500, reading costs $100. We are trying to take it down an order of magnitude because that's a supportable price in the emerging nation. Sir?
Does it help the primary care physician in any way identify some symptoms, or it's up to the expert to figure that out?
Yes, sir. It does actually help. Right here, we have a feature that we are implementing right now. This is a pattern matching algorithm. MIT has an ECG database of 4,000 ECG types. So what we do is this unit now stores that database and it measures it. And with a pattern matching algorithm, we can tell you and take the cardiologist, defer the cardiologist's role to a later time, but it will tell you what it is. And not only will it tell you if it is abnormal, it will actually send you a text message to your phone, to your doctor's phone, and say that, hey, you need to look at this patient, abnormality detected. Yeah.
How are you going to market the product into these rural areas in India?
We have, that's another good question. We have been going through clinics. We have been going through rural clinics. We have been using the government to help market. It's a very good model. So the government is interested in getting it because their intervention costs gets reduced. That is one. We were marketing this in the rural areas, but we have found a significant amount of interest in the urban areas and the hospital chains and the clinic chains that are coming out. They want to reduce their cost from those big, bulky ECG units, and there has been that interest. So we are marketing that. We are putting out articles in the newspaper, and we are being reviewed on those. We have a marketing. We don't have a very strong marketing strategy right now, but it's the three of us going out. I'm going out and speaking on occasions. So that's our. There's also international interest. There's not an MOU signed, so until there's money on the table, we can. But there's interest from South Africa. There's interest from Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Eastern European countries like Serbia and Romania. They have been interested.
One more question. Thank you.